Hey Void, how you doing? So, this was another one of my Shudder treks, and it's a movie that's been on my radar a little bit. And I saw it on the upcoming for the past week or two, so I was curious to finally be able to get around to see Maniac. Now, there's a lot of movies under just the title Maniac, and I'd actually seen an old 1930s one a long time ago that was batshit, so I should do a review on that one at some point. But this one is the 1980 Maniac, which is pretty well known in the horror field, especially since it has the effects of Tom Savini, as well as him having a small role in the film. Alright, so Maniac follows a maniac along his killing spree, essentially. A man named Frank Zito keeps hearing the voice of his mother in his head and just drives him to suddenly freak out and kill usually women nearby, typically leading him to scalp them and bring them back and sew their hair onto a mannequin. Weird guy. Anyway, as this goes along, eventually he seems to get a thing for a photographer, but old habits die hard. Eventually, after taking her to his mother's grave, he ends up chasing her around also. So, the plot is very bare bones here. There's not. I mean, the girl that in question doesn't come in until late, so really our main character is Frank, the maniac, as he's just going around doing his thing, which makes it hard to connect because you kind of feel bad for the guy a little, but at the same time, he is going around scalping people. Hard to get behind the guy. So, the film is without a focus of a likable protagonist for a while, and when Anna does come in, it's still usually all seen through the eyes of Frank, so she doesn't, suddenly take over. So it's a little unfocused there. The gore effects are top notch and has one of the best head explosions I've seen. It's one to rival Scanners, and that's saying something. But the other gore effects are still very over the top. The gore really stands out in this film. The acting is pretty good. The guy who plays Frank is actually I believe, I know he had his hands in the movie at another point also, I think. Right, he wrote the original story, and then as well as had a hand in the screenplay. So it's clearly a passion project for Joe Spinelli, and he does a good job playing the guy. The rest of the acting is a little hit and miss, but he's really good. So I wasn't bored, but at the same time, it was hard to stay completely invested in what was going on up until the next kill happened, because the kills were phenomenal. So it's kind of hard. This one's kind of a mixed bag here. I've been debating whether to give it a 5 or a 6. It is a classic horror and rather iconic, and I do see it mentioned fairly regularly. But for me, it wasn't really setting itself further apart other than the crazy over the top gore. So, the best I could do for Maniac is give it 5 MacGuffins. I wanted to like it more than I did. And I hate that I keep bumping into that. Usually I probably grade a little easier than I should. This was still just okay. And that's the best I could really say for Maniac. Alright, so that's probably all for Shudder Trek for this moment. Until next weekend, I should be able to get a couple more in, but we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, yeah, that's more or less everything I really got on Maniac. Yeah. Soundtrack wasn't anything to write home about, so I barely remember anything from it. So yeah, that's Maniac. All I got. See you soon, Void.